Hello everyone and welcome back to another Batman miniature game 3rd edition Battle Report. And today for you we have a League of Assassins team going up against a Soldiers of Fortune team. Usually I would say for the intros of these it's 350 rep of so and so. Both crews work out I believe 336 and 337 because they have that awkward amount of reputation, like that 13-14 range, where there's no even like super cheap models to bung in to fill the points for them. So it's a little awkward. So although they are both under the 350 rep that the standard size game is played on, they're equal at how much they're under. And with that, we can get things started and take a look in more detail at both crews. So here is the League of Assassins crew that is playing today, the larger of the two crews, 6 miniatures and only 4 in the Soldier of Fortune crew that we'll look at in a moment. So we have over here, Talia Al Ghul is leading the crew and has the Heretic as her backup, and then also Free Agent Cheshire. So we'll have a little bit of a focus on poison here, and to that end there is also Assassin 1 with the Poison Scimitar, and then from the newer 3rd edition releases for the League we have League Acolytes 2 and 3, and the one with the bird on his shoulder there, he has Poison Arrows as well. So they'll be going for a lot of poison in general, and of course Talia means that they automatically get up if they're knocked out, although, well, actually, I was going to say it's not possible for the Soldiers of Fortune to really focus on knocking people out as opposed to killing them. That's not true, as we'll see in a moment. So always hard to fit in a lot of miniatures to a Soldiers of Fortune crew if your leader is Deathstroke the Terminator, which he is on his overly large base. So he is the leader, as stated. He's equipped with his two-handed sword and modified assault rifle. Free Agent is Hush, just coming along to cause some trouble, shoot some pistols, and then the only 2 henchmen he's bringing, Infiltrate Op, and then with her Venom Dose Malicia, and it's relevant to a lot of their objective cards, so 3 of the 4 of them have the Veteran trait. But yeah, they're obviously 2 men down on starting number, so they'll have some passes they may or may not use, and yeah, with that we'll get things deployed, be back at setup, and see if there's any Phase 1 or Phase 2 cards being played by either side. So here we are after deployment, Phase 1, Phase 2, Battle Round 1 technically done as well, with both crews set up, again just using the 8-inch deployment on either side because it's just easier than the overly complicated deployment types that come with the Back to Gotham box. This is definitely the simplest of them all. There's also some pre-first turn movement that is availed to Soldiers of Fortune. We'll start with the League though, because they will be taking first activation. We have Assassin 1, we have the 2 League Acolytes, both of which have Audacity. Talia has Audacity, and then all the way over there, the Heretic has Audacity, and Cheshire is next to him. Both of them are against the sewer marker over there. The League is playing a From the Shadows turn 1 to try and snatch up a kill, or possibly just to get it out of their hands. So they mark a target. If he's the first one to die this round, then they score the card. It's being played on Infiltrate Op, who is right there. The shadow is a bit bad, but she is there, I promise. She's blending in a bit too well, especially considering she's next to a light. She has hidden, so she was deployed last, out of line of sight, 12 inches away. So she's right in the thick of it this time. Deathstroke the Terminator is also not in deployment because he has Scout, so before the first turn he gets to do a movement action for free. So he has moved there, is 10 inches in. And everyone on the Soldiers of Fortune side obviously have Audacity because there's 4 of them. And they are also playing a card turn 1. They are playing a Die Hard, and it's being played on Hush, who is back here. So as long as Hush lives, that'll be 2 points. And if the Assassins pick on Infiltrate Op and manage to kill her turn 1, they will also score 2 points. So with that, I think that covers everything. Let's get the game started. So Assassin 1 was the one who got the game started without Audacity, but close enough to Talia that he obviously had his free Manipulate. So he moved forwards. He's staying behind those barrels or crates, in the middle of the road, so he has cover in case Deathstroke tries to shoot at him or Infiltrate Op tries to shoot him, because remember she's hidden behind this building here. He used the free Manipulate to place down a suspect marker, perhaps as a little bit of a honeypot. So for the 4 Soldiers of Fortune, Deathstroke the Terminator was first activate. He moved up, not fully, he could have moved up more if he wanted to, but that did put him in line of sight of too many enemies if he did that. So he stopped where he was there. He used Good Aim, which is given to him by his modified assault rifle, and that kind of counters assault, because assault means you can move, not lose any dice for moving, and shoot with a -1, but Good Aim lets you move and fire aim weapons for a start, but also gives you +1 to your attack roll, so essentially negating the assault negative. So he moved and fired at his full normal rate of fire and normal hit chance, and 3 of the 3+ strength die hits got through. The strength die actually was the one that failed on a 2+, and did 2 blood per bullet, so that is 6 blood to Assassin 1, instantly removing him from the game. And also scoring a quick dirty job for removing a model as a casualty for 1 victory point. Does leave him slightly exposed to 3 of the assassins there, but Deathstroke the Terminator is very tough. Acolyte 3, the one with the falcon on his back, stayed still so he could fire his aim. He used his special action from having Audacity to use falconry, so he can attack targets within 16 inches, regardless of line of sight, as long as they're within 6 of a friendly suspect marker. And this was the big play to try and kill Infiltrate Op, because as the crow flies, Infiltrate Op is within 6 of the suspect marker that Assassin 1 put down. Also, you get 1 additional strength die, which puts it from 1 plus the strength die to 2 plus the strength die, but Infiltrate Op is strength 5, and the strength die roll for his arrow is mechanical, so that's a 3+, so it needed a 3+ and 2 5+, and then it would have also had caustic and poison. He rolled 2 2s and a 1, so Infiltrate Op took absolutely nothing from the arrow that bent round the corner to try and hit her, or arrows I guess, and that was his only poison arrows gone. So the Infiltrate Op was next up for Soldiers of Fortune. They ain't passing for anybody. Oh, I forgot to mention, but she does have Master of Stealth, however she was deployed next to Light, so Master of Stealth was countered. It's only when she's under the effect of the Night rule, which means you can't be illuminated. So anyway, she activated a special action first, which lets her hacking ability, which lets her pick up to 2 suspect markers, enemy ones, within 8 and move them up to 4. She moved the enemy suspect marker right next to Deathstroke in case he wants to reveal it next turn. Then she did a move action behind here, and then she fired her assault rifle. So it's got assault on it, so -1 to the rolls without losing any dice because she moved and fired. She has a red dot on it as well, so 1 could have been re-rolled. And she shot into the falconry archer and got, they only do 1 blood per hit, but did get 4 hits through for 4 of his, I believe he has 6 HP. So he's hurting, but he did live, no cards scored, and back over to the League of Assassins. We're sticking over here. League Acolyte 2 was the next to activate with Audacity. He moved in to attack Infiltrate Op, going for that target that the League is assigned. He's pretty good with his knives. He's a combo with knives, 4 attacks base. They both used maximum effort, so 3 each, so they negated each other out, so it was just a straight dice roll. And he did get quite a few hits through, but she's defense 5 though, which is hard to beat. And then of course she was rolling a lot of defense dice against strength 4, and the strength die didn't get through, so she actually fully blocked the attack. So she took nothing, making the assassin look like a wimp. Malicia, whatever her name is, the venom dosing veteran henchman activated, and first things she did was fall from the building to make what she wanted to do possible. So you walk, you fall, if it's less than your maximum move, you take no damage. So this is only a 6-inch high building and she's got 10 inches. So she fell, took no damage. There, she activated her special trait to super jump, whoop, to move her within 6. So she bounced up onto the building and she put down a suspect marker. She also played a card, not that it's relevant to putting down that suspect marker, but in general, during her turn, she is playing Cyber Attack. Target up to 2 enemy suspect markers, there's only 1 on the table. Roll 1d3 plus 2, place a number equal to that for every subsequent activation, reduce it by 1. If it hasn't been removed, because it would be a remove, because a reveal would be when the enemy does it. The League of Assassins have to get rid of their own suspect marker in this case. If it's still there by the time it hits 0, you score the card. Unfortunately, it was a 3 rolled on the d3, so that's 5, so if that suspect marker has not been removed by the very team that put it within 5 activations, this will score for 2, but given how close it is to the enemies, it probably will get revealed. Maybe not this turn. Well, is there enough models left? Let's see, there's Hush, Talia, the Heretic, and Cheshire. No, it's not. It's going to trigger next turn, so yeah, they've got plenty of time to get rid of this. The Heretic activated and was sadly a little bit away from where the action seems to be going to take place for the entire match. He had Audacity though, he moved up and 10 inches slightly to the side and put down a suspect marker, obviously very keen to get over there to test his mettle against Deathstroke. So normally it would have been back over to Hush to end battle round 1 for the Soldiers of Fortune, however a pass was used, so instead Talia al Ghul activated, and she had 11 inches, and because this barrel crates here is not bigger than an inch can just hop over it without having impaired movement. So she went straight over and didn't need to get into base to base with Deathstroke, but was in base to base with her own suspect marker. She removed it. In doing so, that means cyber attack is impossible to score now, so it's being discarded. Was it a sacrifice worth making, putting herself that close to Deathstroke? Who knows? She then, for a special action, used Order to tell the Acolyte here, hey, put down another suspect marker. So he did, and that's outside of the 10 inches, the 8+2 you normally wouldn't be able to do for deployment. So now Hush technically could use another pass. I guess we'll see. So Hush did decide to take his turn and started by playing a free-for-all, have more models than, again it says that because of errors, than the opponent within 4 of the gaming, the center of the gaming area, which was approximately just underneath that sign right there. So Malicia is basically the only one that's going to get close enough. I guess you could argue as the crow flies, Deathstroke is there, Hush might be, Infiltrate Up might be, he might be. Either way, no matter how you do it, even if he went by just the crow flies, ignoring the height difference, they've definitely scored this, given that Cheshire is the last one to activate for the turn. But we'll put it in play there with the Die Hard. But yeah, it basically is an instant score. So anyway, Hush moved to there, and then he shot his pistols at Talia. He didn't make use of his gun expert gunman, whatever it's called. It lets him shoot twice. Talia is an acrobat, so she can use dodge. So he was only firing 2 bullets, because normally it would be 3 plus the strength die. She used the dodge roll to do 2 effort to dodge both the shots. So that's why he didn't bother. And she'll obviously be healing one of those stun immediately as we get to the end of the round. But first, Cheshire gets to do something. So without Audacity and far from Talia's influence, Cheshire didn't have much to do. She manipulated the sewer grating in order to travel quite a far distance. We have to do a little pan shot over the entire table here. She has popped up right behind Hush, back here at enemy deployment. So that does take us to the end of Battle Round 1, and we'll tally up some points and see if there's any other cards being played. So things definitely got started with a bang in Battle Round 1, this time thanks to Hidden and Scout, meaning that a couple of the Soldiers of Fortune could get right stuck in there. Everyone who has stun damage has healed 1, so Talia, the Infiltrate Op, and Acolyte 2, the one with the knives. And we have some scoring and not scoring. So let's go with the League first. They have not scored from the shadows because Infiltrate Op is still alive, so that's just discarded. However, in Phase 4 they've scored 2 cards. They scored a Do Not Deviate from the Plan. The opponent doesn't reveal any of your suspect markers this round as long as you placed at least 1. And remember, the one that Talia got rid of, that wasn't the enemy doing it, that was her. That was a remove, not a reveal. So this still scores for 2. And a Eradicate the Order has also scored. And again, in Phase 4, remember, you can score as many cards as you're able in your hand as long as they're not named the same thing. You have more suspects than your opponent in play. They have 2. 1 there, 1 there. And Soldiers of Fortune just have 1 up there. So that is 5 points, which is pretty good. But Soldiers of Fortune did pretty well as well. They have scored the free-for-all, because basically Malicia is the only one at the middle, so that's 2 points scored for them. And Hush lived, so that is another 2 points for the Die Hard scoring. As we go into Battle Round 2, Soldiers of Fortune will be taking first activation, but we'll be back showing Audacity and whether or not there's any objective cards being played. So at the top of Round 2, there is no objective cards being played by either side. We'll never guess who has Audacity on the Soldiers of Fortune crew. Oh, the only 4 miniatures in it? Yep, correct. The League of Assassins, now that they're a man down, are only 5 miniatures, so the only person without Audacity is the one with the Acolyte with the bow at the back there. Everybody else does have Audacity, and as previously stated, it will be the Soldiers of Fortune who are getting first activations, although they could also use a pass if they wanted, but with what's going to be happening down here, that probably wouldn't be a good idea. So Deathstroke the Terminator got Battle Round 2 started, perhaps as expected. He moved into base to base with Talia al Ghul. They both went full effort, so 3 effort each to counter each other out. He's a weapon master though, so +1 to his rolls, and his sword also gives him devastating, so he rolls 2 strength die and applies both results. Presumably both are also re-rollable because they're sharp, because he has sharp on his sword as well. I don't remember the wording of the sharp roll. I think it just says reroll strength die, so if you get 2, presumably you can reroll both. Either way, he got a lot of hits through on Talia. Her defense was not as good as her offense. She took 8 damage, which is more than enough to remove her. The Heretic will be taking over as a boss for the crew, and also a dirty job was scored by Deathstroke. So before we cover who next activated, there was actually a resource card played upon Talia's demise. We Cannot Be Defeated was played as a resource. If a friendly model is removed as a casualty, place a friendly suspect marker in contact with them before removing the model, ignoring the minimum range between suspect markers. So it was basically placed where her audacity was. So yes, that is within 4, but it says ignore the normal rules for placement. So it was placed there. For the actual next activation, or first activation for the League, it was the Acolyte with the bow just firing an arrow into Infiltrate Op, and again that defense 5. Whiffed on the strength roll, and then the normal attack roll just could not get through. It did nothing. So we're sticking down here. Infiltrate Op activated and used hacking as a special action to move those 2 suspect markers over here. She then did a move into base to base with one of them, and using the free manipulate from Deathstroke is taking that one away. So that one is gone. And then she shot her assault rifle again. It's got a red dot and assault, so she doesn't lose dice, but it's -1 to hit. She got 3 hits in on the Acolyte with the knives here for 3 blood damage. He's still on his feet. He has 3 health left and no cards scored. Oh, a slight correction to how things played out there, ironically, given that Do Not Deviate from the Plan was played as a resource for 2 of the 3 resource points they have this turn. It would have been 4, but Talia's dead, so presumably that vanishes, the bonus one that she gives, I think. Actually, it might not for the turn. Either way, if an enemy model tries to reveal one of your suspect markers, cancel the action. So obviously this can't score now, but it has stopped that suspect marker being removed, so it is still there in base to base with Infiltrate Op. Cheshire activated next and snuck up behind Hush in an attempt to kill him with her poison katana Double Blood. They both exerted maximum effort, 3 each, to cancel each other out. And she didn't do too well with the damage. Only 1 hit got through, and it was the strength die, but it was a crit. So Hush has been knocked down and all her weapons are poisoned, so he has now been poisoned as well. No cards scored, a little bit of damage done, and now that poison isn't going anywhere. So we're back up here on the roof. Malicia activated and she moved to the other end of the roof and put down a suspect marker. It is just outside of 4 of that one, and that is going to score a Black Ops. A friendly model places a suspect marker within 8 inches of an enemy that cannot draw a line of sight to it, or the suspect marker. Take your pick. The Heretic can't. He can't. The building is 6 inches tall, so even if you don't go by how the crow flies, it's still just enough, I think. But I'm going to class that as being scoreable. If you do have to measure literally 1 inch along, 6 inches up, 2 inches there, then that technically wouldn't be that. There's no rules for whether you do it as the crow flies or not, so we're going to say that it scores. So League Acolyte 2 with Audacity moved in on Infiltrate Op to once again try and get through with his combo knives against that defense 5, and all said and done 2 successful attacks rather, for 2 blood in total, putting her at, oh, that was her first blood damage actually, so she has 4 HP left, no cards scored, and she is very sturdy. She has taken so many hits. So Hush was the last one to go for Soldiers of Fortune again, and he stayed where he was. Used Gunman so he could fire twice to use up all his ammunition in 2 point blank gunshots because his pistols are light and can be fired in close combat. Against poor Cheshire, who couldn't dodge because of how much stun damage he'd already accumulated, and Hush does blood stun with his pistols. The first barrage did 2 hits through for 2 blood 2 stun, and then the second barrage got 3 hits through, 3 blood 3 stun. She's actually alive on 1 HP, but she is knocked out. And with that, it is over to the Heretic to end off Battle Round 2. So the Heretic is suffering from being too far from the action despite having Audacity. He moved his 10 inches and then he placed down a suspect marker, and because of the way we counted the one that Malicia put down here, we're doing the same for the one he placed, to be fair, and that means under their noses is scoring. Place a suspect marker within 4 of an enemy suspect marker. As the crow flies, that's 4 inches, so we're going to count that and score it for them, and that does take us to the end of the round. So we'll be doing a KO check for Cheshire, poison for Hush, and seeing if any other cards are being scored. So at the end of Battle Round 2, Cheshire has woken up, so she is just knocked down. Hush did not take any damage from his poison. Speaking of which, Hush and Deathstroke healed 1 stun each, as did the Acolyte with the knives. There is 1 objective card being scored in Phase 4. Another Eradicate the Order for the League of Assassins. Have more suspect markers in play than your opponent. Definitely do. So that's an easy score, and as we go into Battle Round 3 to see if there's any Phase 1 or Phase 2 cards played there, it is Soldiers of Fortune going first again. So here's how things are looking at the top of the penultimate battle round. Everybody has Audacity because both sides have 4 miniatures left. Damage is starting to accrue on the Soldiers of Fortune though, so they might start suffering losses depending on how it goes, although they are getting first activation. There's one card being played. It is another From the Shadows, so someone has been marked for death by the League, and that someone, because they never learn, is Infiltrate Op. Because if they targeted Hush, Hush is just going to activate and kill Cheshire and no one else can get to him. Infiltrate Op could at least potentially be attacked by a few people. So it's their best shot at scoring it, so why not? So Deathstroke the Terminator got the second last battle round started, and he went for the Heretic, who's only defense 3, and they both maximum efforted, so 3 effort each to cancel each other out. Weapon Master, devastating, sharp, two-handed sword. The Heretic is much more about dealing damage than receiving it, whereas Deathstroke is pretty much awesome at both. Well, this Deathstroke anyway. So he did casual 10 damage, just 10 damage. So the Heretic, he is, as they say, a very dead, and he is gone. So they need another leader, and the new leader is gonna be him. Congratulations. Also, They Must Know Pain is being scored for inflicting at least 6. He did 10. So an easy score, only a single point though. There could have been better chances to score more on doing yet another leader kill, but 1 point is obviously fine, and there's obviously one less miniature on the field for the League of Assassins to do anything with because he had audacity. It is over to them to do something. I think they're still ahead points wise though. Cheshire stood up, and she is an acrobat, and then moved into base to base with the Infiltrate Op to attack them. And Infiltrate Op used 2 effort, a little bit wary because obviously there might be another attack coming in against her. So just used 2 effort, but that was enough to take away dice, and then the rolls were bad enough, plus 5 defense dice, that she actually managed to block all the damage Cheshire tried to do. They've wasted so much time trying to kill this Infiltrate Op, it's ridiculous. Infiltrate Op activated with audacity, obviously. I haven't been saying that because everybody has audacity. She fell back and unloaded the last of her ammunition at the Acolyte who's closest to her and hasn't gone yet. And he took 3 damage, which is, oh, there's the damage there, which is enough based on the damage he's already received to kill him. So he is a very dead, and a dirty job has been scored just for another 1 point. More importantly though, there's really no threat that can get to her, so it's very unlikely From the Shadows is going to score now. Especially because, well, Cheshire is alive but is activated, but it's only the other Acolyte that's left alive. So the hastily promoted Acolyte, who is now the boss, moved, put down a suspect marker, out of 4, within 4, in order to score another under their noses. As previously discussed, we're doing it as the crow flies this time, so both teams are taking advantage of that fact. So that does score, and that was the last activation for the League of Assassins. Hush and Malicia get to activate now in whatever order they choose. Malicia was the first of the 2 to activate, and she sensed weakness. Totally forgot to mention she did use her Venom Dose at the top of the turn, so that gives her +1 to her Strength Die roll and 2 free efforts on an attack. She super jumped down right into the leader and assaulted him. 3 punches got through, it wasn't that great, although his defense roll was worse. It was 3 2s and it needed 3s. So 6 stun damage was enough to instantly knock him out, so Acolyte 3 is unconscious, and it's not looking good for the League. So Hush activated, walked up to Cheshire, efforted 3 times just to make sure he had enough attacks going through. He only needed to do 1 stun. He did 6 until 3 hits got through because he has reinforced gloves. Knocked her out again, so that is the end of the battle round. From the Shadows obviously isn't playing. There is a chance if either of them wake up that there can be another round. I mean, well, even if they don't wake up, the League can technically, the Soldiers of Fortune rather, can technically have a full turn of doing whatever they want. I guess I still think the Soldiers of Fortune are behind in points, so it isn't a case of just like letting them have it. So I guess we'll see what happens at the end phase for Battle Round 3. So despite how things are going for them, the League of Assassins is actually scoring 2 cards in the end of Battle Round 4. Daughter of the Demon, Talia's card is scoring. Have more friendly suspects within 4 inches of enemy models than there are enemy models. There's 4 enemy models, there's 5 enemy suspect markers, all of which are well within 4 inches of enemies, 2 in range of Malicia there. So that's scored for 3. And do not deviate from the plan because none of their suspect markers got revealed that turn. So that's scored. So they scored 5, and the Soldiers of Fortune scored nothing. So I don't think they can catch up in one battle round. Oh, sorry, also, Acolyte did not wake up. Cheshire did wake up. So only Cheshire is getting an activation in the final turn. But I don't think the Soldiers of Fortune can catch up with points. I haven't been counting them, I don't know for sure. But I don't think they can. So they've got to go for the table. I think. So into Battle Round 4 we go. So this is how things are looking at the top of the final round. It will be the Soldiers of Fortune getting first activation thanks to Hush giving +1 to the take the lead bonus, which he actually helped last turn as well. Everyone left alive on the table has Audacity. Forgot to put one back on Cheshire, but obviously she's activating, assuming she lives through the first activation if Hush or Deathstroke kill her. No cards being played by either side though, so again I think it just comes down to the tabling. So for the third time in a row, Deathstroke the Terminator got things started, and for the fourth turn in a row he has murdered someone. He went in, he did 8 damage to Cheshire, obviously she was on the ground, so which didn't help. And her defensive weapon can't save her now because she is dead. Now, it didn't score any cards, but during Deathstroke's activation he did play a free-for-all to have more models within 4 of the central approximation point than the enemy, because hopefully that'll be scoreable, and also because Hush isn't going to get round to there, and neither is her. So all those two can really do on their turn, walk up to suspect markers, reveal them. That's all they're going to do. Malicia can't do enough damage because she only does physical, she only does stun damage. He's knocked out, so each hit will do 1 blood on top. That means best possible outcome, 4 blood. Can't kill him. So the tabling can't happen, unfortunately. But there is still chances for the Soldiers of Fortune to score cards, so they're going to have to try because it's not going to be a tabling, and I think they're behind in points. So before we cover Malicia's all-important turn, we're going to cover Hush's and the Infiltrate Ops turn real quick. Hush moved up, put down a suspect marker, and scored a Black Ops for being within 8 of an enemy, the only enemy, without being able to draw a line of sight to either or, so that's 2 victory points scored. Infiltrate Op played during her turn, although it doesn't score right now, it scores at the end of the round. Have more friendly models with the veteran trait and played in there are enemy suspects, which I don't think will score, but it was something to play to get out the hand, because during her turn she moved up, she's removing that, but there's still 1, 2, 3, 4. If Malicia removes that one, it's 3, but there's only 3 miniatures with veteran because Hush doesn't have veteran, so no, that won't score. But it got out the hand at least, and Black Ops did score. So now it is over to Malicia to see if she can score anything. So in the calculations for Malicia's turn, I totally forgot, of course, she could effort 3 times. He's unconscious on the floor, so he doesn't get to roll defense dice, and he's -1 to his defense, putting him at defense 2. So she fully efforted in order to score a search and destroy, because she scored at least 2 hits while making at least 2 efforts, which she did. But not only that, because she does 1 blood on top of every successful hit, because she just does stun damage, she actually got 7 hits, so that's 7 blood, and he has 6 HP, so she did actually kill him and table the League of Assassins. Now what she was going to do is then super jump back there, so that she's within 4 of here. We're still going to see who would have won points wise, but because of the tabling, the Soldiers of Fortune instantly won. But Search and Destroy scores. If we come over here though, Global Offensive does not, and Free for All, because Malicia bounced back onto the building, does. So let's see what the points would have said. The Soldiers of Fortune on the left, their pile definitely thicker, but each individual card for the League I feel scored more. But let's see anyway. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. The League technically would have, well, not technically, they literally won on points, but it doesn't matter because they got tabled. So despite how appallingly they were doing as far as staying alive, if the effort hadn't been noticed and she just jumped back up there to score that card, oh, and punched a little bit for Search and Destroy, they would have lost thanks to the unconscious Acolyte. But because of the effort limit and the fact that she hadn't done anything because she stayed on the building the whole match, she did enough bleed damage through her punching an unconscious body to table the League. So it is a Soldiers of Fortune win, but they were this close to having a hilarious last second victory on points, as opposed to, like, they weren't going to win the war, let's put it that way. But still, that was a fun way to end that one, and I like that the action got started really quick thanks to Deathstroke and the Infiltrate Op getting right stuck in there straight away. Speaking of which, the Infiltrate Op was ridiculously good this round. Obviously defensive eye in general is good. The League doesn't have much that could put up against it. Talig got taken down too quickly. Deathstroke killed someone literally every turn, which is the best way to have him, like, justify his points. The Heretic starting over here, big mistake. Should have instantly taken the sewer grating, popped up where Cheshire did, or here, just to cover ground faster. And yeah, like I said at the time when he died, he's all about dealing damage. He can't really take it because of his defense 3. Interesting one, very fun, very amusing how it came down to points, etc. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Ta for now.